generation Chinese American and fourth generation American. Now he's running for the U.S. Congress for 2022. Great Ming, Tanaka!
Thank you, Ming. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, everyone raise your hand if you can hear me. Okay, blow your whistles if you can hear me. Blow the whistles. Okay, good. We should, if you want to see better vantage point, you guys can shift this way a little bit to see the speakers better. But hopefully everyone can see us. So good afternoon, and thank you, Ming, for the great introduction. I want to thank everyone for joining us, for joining the Stop Asian Hate rally to support the 8x8 voter registration. My name is Tanaka. I've been serving on the Palo Alto City Council since 2017. While I organized this rally, I couldn't have made it happen without all the volunteers. We had something like 60, 70 volunteers who made this rally happen. So we also had a bunch of sponsors for this rally, so there's a bunch of giveaways. So if you guys participate in the 8x8 challenge, which is very easy to do, I'll talk about it later, you'll get a giveaway, so please participate. I want to acknowledge all of the elected officials here. I know we have a bunch of them, I'm going to miss a lot of names, and it's so windy here that I can't really read everyone's name off, but we have council members from Santa Clara, council members from Palo Alto, we have our supervisor here from the county, we have, let's just do this. Anyone that's elected official, raise your hand, please, raise your hand. Hi. Okay, so we have a lot of elected officials here. Okay. What about appointed officials? Anyone on a commission, board, raise your hand. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming out to support this. How many voters are here? That was awesome. So, I've been at a lot of Stop Asian Hate rallies, a lot of them. When I say a lot, I was at my 14th one yesterday with some of the Santa Clara council members. So, let me talk about my motivation as to why I helped organize this rally. So I've been to a lot of rallies, there've been a lot of chants, a lot of people energized, which is great, but I want a lasting change. And the lasting change is really going to happen through voter registration, for more participation politically. So, we got to act, and let me explain why. So Asians have been here in the Bay Area since the 1850s. My old great-grandfather came here from Japan in 1880. These immigrants were miners, they were laborers. They sweated under the California sun to support their families back home. Over the next 170 years, our communities continue to grow and contribute to the Bay Area, both economically and culturally. We are business owners, we are startup founders, we are venture capitalists, professors, doctors, lawyers, students. We work as hard as our Kuli ancestors, and we are part of the community as anyone else in America. So why are we treated like we're not? This is not the first time Asians were used as scapegoats. During the 1870s, the Chinese were blamed for the country's economic hardship. Chinese immigrant workers were called invasion by the San Francisco Chronicle. This racism caused the Chinese Exclusion Act and banning all Chinese immigrants. This led to Chinese people being massacred and forced out of America. They stood alone. There were no Asian American officials to rally for them or to fight for them. It was just silence. Let's also not forget that only 2 generations ago, the Japanese Americans, 120,000 Japanese Americans were put in concentration camps. My own grandfather died in the camps when my dad was only 5. There was just silence. There were no rallies, no whistles, just silence. He stood alone. My dad, after his release from the camps, faced intense anti-Japanese discrimination. It was so bad that he dropped out of high school, depriving him of an education. Once again, he stood alone. There were no rallies, no whistles, no signs, no people coming out to City Hall to protest, just silence. Now, in the 21st century, we are being blamed for COVID by the ignorant. Once again, we are under physical and verbal attack. we are being shot, beaten to a coma, sent to the ICU because of our race. In 2020 alone, hate crimes against Asian Americans risen by 150%. History again is what's repeating itself. This is the new pandemic of racism. This is the new virus of anti-Asian hate. We need to stop it. Last year, I was biking along Middlefield, minding my own business, stopped at a red light. Minivan pulls up to me. Hello? Okay, great. Okay, we have a speaker issue. I was biking along Middlefield, stopped at a red light. A minivan pulls up to me, and he starts saying, "Why'd you bring the virus here? Go back to China." I hadn't felt that kind of racism since I was a kid, as one of the few Asian kids in my class. I couldn't wait for that light to change. Again, I stood alone. Many hate crimes go unreported. Some of our first-generation immigrants don't even know whether they get entitled to report being sweared up or being doused with water. Why is this? Well, in 2016, when I ran for city council, I had to raise funds. I went to my dad and asked him, "Hey, can you donate to my campaign?" He donated to Obama's campaign. He donated to Hillary's campaign. I asked him to donate to my campaign. And he refused. I was surprised. He thought Asians shouldn't be in politics. He thought we should just work hard, keep our heads down, and our mouths shut. Do you guys think that we should keep our heads down, our mouths shut? No! Should we keep silent? No! Should the families of the 6 Asian American women stand alone? No! We need our voices heard. We need representation. We need to refuse to be everyone's punching bag. In Santa Clara County, Asians are the largest and fastest growing ethnic group. At 38%, we're 38% of the county, but only 15% of the voting population, and about 6% of the elected officials. There's a lack of representation, but I have a plan to change that. Part 1 of the plan. We need to go out and get more people to vote. So we have a voter registration booth here, several voter registration booths here. And this is why I started the 8x8. So 8 is a lucky Chinese number. So the idea is to get 8 people registered to vote in 8 days. Can you guys do this? If we do the 8x8 challenge, which I hope is going to be like the ice bucket challenge, we can increase the number of Asians that vote, the eligible Asians that vote from 49% to something a lot higher, like 90%. This is what we need to do. Can you guys do this? Yeah! We must show that the Asian vote matters. Yeah! Can we stand together? Yeah! This leads to the part 2 of the plan. We must get involved. We just must go to rallies. We must talk to city councils. We must email our representatives. We must get involved. We must donate to political campaigns. We must participate. We must run for elected office. We cannot keep our heads down and our mouths shut. Can we keep our heads down and our mouths shut? No! Everyone must get involved. We must stand together. Yes! Will you join me? Will you stand together? Yes! Please join me by taking the 8x8 challenge to stop Asian hate. Yes! Hate is a virus. This must stop. Thank you.
For bringing forth this brilliant idea of tangible change by encouraging us all to register to vote. We have 6% Asian Americans in this country. We are 23 million strong. However, in California, 4 million California Asian Americans, we have only 17% of eligible voters registered. As Greg said, registering voters are our first step of creating meaningful change. Real change only happens when every one of us take action. Now let me introduce our phenomenal role model in the political office, California's State Treasurer, Fiona Marc. Fiona Marc is our 34th State Treasurer of California. She was elected in 2018 with over 7.8 million votes, more than any other treasurer in the state's history. She's also the first woman of color and the first woman certified public accountant elected to the position. She formerly served as Speaker 3 terms of the California State Assembly. I'm fortunate to work with her in my area council's capacity. Fiona, everybody!
Thank you, Ming. Well, it's my sign. Thank you, Ming, and thank you to the community, Greg, and everyone for coming out today. I'm here with my father, who really wanted to come and we wanted to walk with our community to stand with all of us. And I also walked with the great Mike Honda. He is the godfather of our community. I would not have gotten elected to my first position on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors had Mike not flown in from Washington, D.C. time and time again to stand by me. And this is what this is about. It's about all of us standing together against racism, against hate, against scapegoating. We need to protect our elders when they go out. We need to protect our families and our colleagues and our young people. And we need to make sure we vote. I have been elected to 4 different offices. The Asian community comes through eventually, but it takes a while. I have to go knock on doors. I have to make them promise that they are going to show up on election day to vote. And if we don't show up, our voices are not going to be heard. We are not going to be represented at the table. And so let's take that 8x8 challenge and make sure we register as many people as we can and make sure that they show up at the voting booth on election day. This is our lives. It matters. And we need to show up, we need to represent, and we need to make sure we vote and take care of each other. Love will conquer the day. Thank you.
Speech. I now have the pleasure to introduce Mike Honda. Where's Mike?
Mike, right here.
Oh, there you are, okay. So, Mike is our former Congressmember representing the 17th and 15th districts from 2001 to 2017. During his time in his office, he was also elected as Vice Chairman of the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. Please give me a big round of applause for Mike Honda.
Now I can see you. 2, 4, 6, 8. We don't appreciate Asian hate. I had to think of something. Everybody's all around just chanting. Well, let me just say thank you very much to the organizers, Greg, for your leadership. But have you noticed that since this has happened, if you look at the origin of the rallies and the people who say this is important for us to get together and speak out, it's Asian presence in local politics. And I think that the folks who have put them in there, we ought to appreciate you for your participation in putting Asian Americans into office. And then they, in turn, provide that leadership for the community. So diversity does work. And I think that this valley is very, very unique in the world, and that we understand what diversity is. But in spite of all that, we still have people who harbor this hate and this animosity towards people who look like us or people who are different. My question to all of you is, how do people learn hate? Because all children are born as a blank page. Someone writes in their pages, you have to hate this, you have to fear them. So we have to really have an extra effort to make sure that parents and people who have young people, and it's good to see young people here, that they're participating in understanding that hate has no place in this country. Hate has no place in this country. So, besides having folks who have faces like ours in office, it is important for people like yourselves to understand that your participation is critical for us to be able to move forward as a country, as a community that believes in diversity. So participate, don't hate. Educate, don't hate. We just have to renovate the way we think about people and ourselves. So I just want to say again, thank you. All the elected officials who are here, I believe Congresswoman Eshoo is here. Give her a hand because she represents this area. And remember, it doesn't matter whether you're in the President's office or Board of Commissioners or a parent. If someone speaks hate, resist it and then make sure that they're called out on it. Because if you see something, do something. If you hear something, say something. Okay? So thank you for being here and thank you for participating. God bless all of you.
Thanks, our godfather, Marc. Indeed, we will have Eshoo, our incredible councilwoman, to speak and be introduced by Lydia, our Palo Alto City Councilman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's my pleasure to introduce Congresswoman Eshoo. Congresswoman, thank you for your leadership and solidarity with the Asian American Pacific Islander community during this difficult time of anti-Asian sentiment and xenophobia. As our congressional representative, we appreciate your commitment to end racism and combat discrimination. So thank you for being with us today, and it's a true honor to introduce you.
Thank you, Lydia. Hi, everybody. How are you? You're a beautiful sight. You're a beautiful sight to see. I want to thank Lydia and Greg for inviting me today. I want to thank all of the young people that were part of organizing this. Raise your hands and your signs so everyone knows who you are. There you are. Look at that. Isn't that great? There are already many wonderful and important things that have already been said. It's great to see my colleague and friend, Mike Honda, here, to all the elected officials. This is an important gathering. And I say that not only because of what obviously is going on, the anti-AAPI, what is underfoot, and what's taking place in our communities. The Asian Pacific community has a tough history in the United States of America. There are many dark chapters. There are many dark chapters where hatred was exhibited and taken out on people. Then we had a president that took that, and it's as if hatred was something to be honored by the way he spoke. Instead of unifying people, he divided people. But we know better. We know better. Everyone here, especially the young people, you will be able to tell your children, your grandchildren, where you were, where you stood, what you did during this chapter in American life. And you'll be proud of it. In the Congress, we are right on the brink of passing the Hate Act, the Hate Crimes Act. We are a nation of laws. We have to have strong, tough laws so that when someone commits these hate crimes, that they are prosecuted fully under the law. We're all unified. This is a beautiful message that goes out throughout the valley, that not here in Palo Alto, not on the peninsula, not in the South Bay, not in California, not in America, and that's where we stand. It's an honor to represent a community that has such a conscience. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Anna, and we're honored to have you here. Next, maybe already a lot of people know Steve Wesley, who is the National Finance Committee for President Biden's campaign, who was also the California co-chair for President Obama's campaign, our former California State Controller and the CFO, also the founder of Wesley Group, one of the largest venture funds in the U.S. focused on smart energy, mobility, and green buildings. Steve Wesley, everybody.
So is everybody fired up and ready to go? Yeah! completely fired up? I don't hear it yet. We want everybody in Palo Alto and throughout this country to hear the power of organizing for human rights. Folks, thank you for coming out today. It is all too easy in this world to remember that our forebears gave their lives for the right to protest, for the right of two fundamental concepts of government. The right to the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the right to vote. We are under attack now. Asian families throughout this country, including my own, my wife is an immigrant from China, are subjected to taunts, insults, physical violence every day. Our communities need to come together and show support and give everybody the right to pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. Folks, it is easy to say this all dials back to the anger and racism of President Trump, and he clearly plays a big part of this. But it goes much deeper in our country. 1892, Chester Arthur, the Chinese Exclusion Act, revoking the right of Chinese to immigrate legally to our country simply because of the color of their skin. We can do better, we must do better. 50 years later, when we thought those lessons had been learned, the United States government corrals Japanese American citizens, including the Honorable Mike Honda's family, and detains them in internment camps for 3 years. We can and must do better. So today I call on all of you, the 8x8 to end Asian hate. Remember these 3 things. Get out to vote. 2, we need more Asian Americans in our elected office, including someday I'm hoping my daughter who is here today. And 3rd, our political action must be sustained. Coming out today is a great thing, God bless you, but it is only a first thing. Because if we go away, we give up our right to full equality. God bless you for coming out. I hope you are fired up and ready to go.
Thank you so much, Steve. We're honored to have you here.
Excellent speech. I now have the honor of introducing Jenny Ming. You guys might know Jenny Ming, but how many of you guys have already bought anything from Old Navy? Anyone? Okay, she's the co-founder of Old Navy. Does anyone have any stuff from Levi Strauss? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, just a few of you, I guess. She's on the board of Levi Strauss. So please, guys, give me a warm welcome for Jenny Ming.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's great to see everyone here today. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be with so many wonderful speakers and friends. You know, I never considered myself very political or ever thought about being in a rally. What I realized is that it doesn't matter how you vote, what you value, there is nothing political calling out prejudice and racism. Nothing partisan about equality for all Americans. No one should be harassed, our homes and business vandalized, our loved ones assaulted because of how we look and where we come from. I came to the Bay Area when I was 9 years old from Macau, and I still remember not speaking a word of English and going to my first ESL class. I certainly felt like a foreigner and not really belonging. Now, over 50 plus years, co-founding Old Navy and an all-American brand, why do I continue fighting to be seen, heard, and appreciated as an American? I have always believed what makes this country great is the diversity of people. We all bring different cultures, ideas, experiences, and perspective. This is what is so special about this country. We need to continue to celebrate this. And the best way to end intolerance is to stop it. It starts with us. We have to take on the responsibilities and an obligation to speak out when we see it happening. Not just anti-Asian hate. All hate is not acceptable. So don't be a bystander. You all have to have the courage to speak up when you see it. Our community is not about unite and stand together to solve this. So here's a special shout out to the 8x8 challenge. We all need to do this. Thank you.
So here we have Alison, the Palo Alto City Council, introduce our Assembmember Marc Berman.
Hey! Hello! Raise your hand if you're from Palo Alto. Raise your hand if you're not from Palo Alto. Welcome! Thank you for being here today. And while the microphone is back on, it is my pleasure to introduce our Assembmember, Marc Berman. Marc was raised here in Palo Alto. He served in the city council before us. We're delighted to have him here, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Allison. It's so good to be here today. It's so good to be here with good friends. The first two political experiences I had were interning for Eshoo and Mike Honda over 20 years ago, and they do such an amazing job of representing us. I had a chance to travel to China with Bing Wei soon after I got elected to the city council, and Palo Alto signed a smart city partnership with the Yangpu district of Shanghai. And I've served on the city council and on an infrastructure commission with Tanaka, who does an amazing job representing the city. It's so good to be here. I now get the privilege of serving in the State Assembly. And a couple of weeks ago, we honored Yom HaShoah, which is Holocaust Remembrance Day. And we were reminded that the Holocaust didn't start with millions of Jews getting shoved into gas chambers and extermination chambers. It started with demonization. It started with words. It started with hate. And we see too much of those same symbols and actions happening today. And we must stand up like all of you are right now. And we must say enough is enough. It ends now. We do not respect hate. We respect our neighbors. And we respect our friends. I also have the honor of serving on serving as chair of the Elections Committee in the State Assembly. And I've authored about a half dozen laws to make it easier to vote in California. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't register. And that's why we have the 8x8 to stop agent hate, is we need to get all of our ABI sisters and brothers registered to vote. And we need to make sure they vote. And we need to make sure they run for office. So thank you all for being here today. Go out, get 8 of your friends to register to vote. When it comes time to vote, make sure they vote. And push back on hate and every single opportunity you see it. Thank you so much.
Awesome job. Very good again. How many of you guys ever watched the show Survivor? I had the pleasure of introducing Kwon. He's actually a hero of my daughter. She was born after he was on Cook Island. But she's so excited about this, about Survivor. So please guys, give me a warm welcome for Kwon.
Hey everybody!
Hey, Survivor!
Survivor! I just wanted to say, this recent wave of anti-Asian hate has really struck home for me personally. And it's reminded me of the many times my family and I faced racism. I remember when I was a kid, waking up one morning to find that our house had been covered in toilet paper. And someone had spray painted, "Gook lives here," on the street in front of our house. Growing up, I remember being called Chicken Chong and being bullied more times than I can remember. In my final casting interview for Survivor, the first question I was asked is a question that many of you have been asked. Where are you from? No. Where are you really from? Just 2 months ago, my mom, who's 76 years old, was on her way to Kaiser to get her COVID vaccine shot, and she got lost. So she went to a gas station. She went inside the convenience store to ask for directions. When she came out, a white man parked his car right behind hers and blocked her so she couldn't leave. And when she asked him to move his car so she could go to the doctor, he yelled at her, "You can't tell me what to do! This is my country!" My mom saw that he was trying to escalate, and she got really scared. So she went inside her car, she locked the door, and she waited until they left. She wanted to call the police, but she was afraid that if she did, they would provoke violence. I've heard so many stories like this, especially in the last few months. And many of them have been more heartbreaking than mine. But the thing is, despite all the ugliness, I've seen how it's been bringing out the best in people. A white woman saw what happened to my mother. She came out of the convenience store and she comforted my mom. And then she took my mom to Kaiser so my mom wouldn't miss her appointment. I've seen so many more people, all of us here, standing up, getting involved, and standing up against hate. Now, I believe that most people in this country are not like that mom, like that man who confronted my mom. I believe most people in this country are like that woman who helped. I believe that most people in this country are like all of us here today, standing up to support each other. To me, this is the real America. It's all of us. And all of us are saying, enough is enough. No more violence, no more hate, no more racism. Now, if I could talk to that man who confronted my mom, here's what I would say to him. I would say, you're wrong. This is not your country. But this is not my country either. This is our country. We're in it together. And we can do that. So for everyone out here today, thank you for coming. Thank you for speaking up. And let's rise to the 8x8 challenge by getting all of our friends, all of our families registered to vote. And let's do it for each other. Let's do it for our kids. And let's do it to show that we're not going to be intimidated. And instead, we're going to work together to make ourselves better and make this country better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Yo. We are all survivors, in a way. And now let's do a little chant before our next speaker. I say, when Asian gets attacked, you say, stand up and fight. When Asian get attacked, stand up and fight. When grandma get attacked, stand up and fight. When our mother get attacked, stand up and fight. When our sister get attacked, stand up and fight. When do we need our voice heard? Now! Now! Silence is violence. We are not violence. So, the next speaker is Women in Leadership. A role model, my personal role model, Marc. Marc is the president and co-founder of Ascent, North America's network for Asian leaders. She's also the board member for Commonwealth Club of California, the nation's largest and oldest public affairs forum. She's also the governor's chair for Committee 100 and senior fellow for the American Leadership Forum, Asia Pacific leader for advisory practice, and global lead for crime services in Deloitte. Marc.
It is so good to be here with you. I made the drive from San Francisco, but there's a story about that really ties to today. It's so good to see so many friends here. I actually was a Palo Alto resident up till January. So I thought I'd share the story of how I actually moved back to San Francisco. And that is because I have an 88-year-old father. And also I'm an empty nester. My daughter went to Castellea with Steve's daughter. And I love Palo Alto. I love living here. But it got to the place where my 88-year-old father was needing my help to be closer to him. I know many of us in the audience have parents that we really care for. So I moved back to San Francisco to be closer to him. But what I found in the convening months since January and now is I can't really protect him. Here's my 80-year-old father. He's been an American citizen for decades. He came in the 60s. He spent the last few years of his life to be independent. To be able to, he still walks, he still is able to go out of his house technically, but he is now a prisoner in his own home. Because my brother and I do not want him to go out. So can you imagine that? Here's a man, probably like Fiona's friends, where they have been hardworking American citizens. They raised their family. They came to the U.S. to make a better life for all of us. And yet, in his however many years he has, he cannot assert his own independence and his right to fully participate in society. So that is where we find ourselves today. Like Jenny and like so many of us, we didn't see ourselves as this, especially those of us in business. But I think many of us are realizing that we really have to stand up and assert our voice. And I want to, you'll mention what I'll use the term allies. The issues that our Asian community is facing is not an issue about Asians only. This is an issue about humanity and about what it means to be in a civil society. And the fact that we cannot walk freely in the streets is really a question about what kind of society we want and what kind of society we want our children to grow up in and our grandchildren to be a part of. So that is why I've been spending so much time through Ascend and through all my other organizations to really go in and talk to companies and across the nation about this issue of hate, educating people that aren't at rallies like this, people that live in our nice houses in suburbs that don't have a chance to participate the way all of you guys have come to participate, about the root of hate, which you've heard today, but also about that hate and bias is not always translated into crimes. They may translate into things like microaggressions. I saw signs about, I'm not your model minority. So many of us are now almost immune to the words that are challenged of us, that question our Americanness, that question our right to have a voice, that question whether we even deserve to be here. And that's not right. That's not right in the streets of our cities. That's not right in our companies. That's not right in our schools. So I am so proud of being a former Palo Alton, walking these streets and being here with you today. But also I'm so proud of all of you for coming out and really expressing what all of us said. Our opportunity to participate. All of us actually have more power than we believe. We should not wait for someone else to give us power. We have it. So now is the time for us to really express that through participation and definitely through our political power. And we all have political power, whether you choose to run for office or not. We have it by voting, by getting others to vote, by participating in the 8x8, and by electing officials that really understand not only our needs, but the needs of the greater community, and making us a nation of what it really has potential to be. So thank you all for coming out, and go
I now have the pleasure of introducing Debbie Liu. Debbie Liu is a Palo Alto resident, but she's probably more famous than that. How many of you guys done your taxes? Anyone done taxes? She's on the board of directors of Intuit. I'm sure a lot of you guys use the product. Also, how many of you guys haven't used Ancestry to look up where your ancestor came from? Anyone? Two of you guys? Okay. She's also the CEO of Ancestry. Please give me a warm welcome for Deb Liu.
So much for that warm welcome to all the speakers here. You know, I never thought I would be standing here giving a speech at a rally because I grew up in Queens, New York, and I never thought I was different. I never saw myself as any different than anyone else. And then when I was 6 years old, my parents decided to move to a small town in South Carolina. And from that day on, I was reminded I was different. I was the other. I was told in the streets when I was out there with my parents, go back to where you came from. Just like Yul was saying, our house was egged. We had broken windows. People called us all day and night to make fun of us, to tell us to go away. And I thought the answer was to fit in, to actually not show that you're different. That I wouldn't be the other if I pretended to be the same as everyone else and I fit in. And I spent years believing that until I realized that that was a failing strategy. Because in that multicultural community in Queens where I grew up, my cousin, who still lives 2 streets away from where I grew up, he was attacked on the street, punched, and spat on. we are no longer safe in our country if we are always going to be the other, if we're always going to be the foreigner. And for so many years, I believed in the mantra, keep your head down, do the hard work, and people will appreciate Asians and they will fit in. We will be just like everybody else. But that's not true, because we are equal Americans to everyone else, and it is important that we have our voices heard. And so as you go out from here, don't take the strategy I did of being quiet and fitting in and hoping and praying that this country accepts us. Instead, we need to find our voices and go out there and say we belong here just as much as every single other person. America is great because people from all over the world have come together to this place. And they have come together to make America strong. So I ask all of you to remember that America is strong because we are here, because everyone else around us is here, and that we should celebrate that, and it should make us better. Hate has no home here. And I hope we go out there and make sure that everyone knows that we activate this community, that we go out to vote, and we remind each other that we are a great country because we don't hate, that we learn to love, that we learn to embrace, and that we are one. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lydia. Let's echo what Abby said. Hate has no home here. Let's echo together. Hate has no home here. Repeat after me. Hate has no home here. Hate has no home here.
Hate has no home here.
What do we need to change? When do we need to change? Now.
Now.
What we do about it? Vote.
Vote.
Okay, next we have our own Palo Alto Councilwoman Lydia, who will come to speak. And she's been Councilwoman for a long time, served at different terms, and she's a great friend and been making impact in Palo Alto. Our own Councilwoman Lydia Poole.
Vincent Chin's story is one that we've always wanted to tell, but now the world needs to hear it. Vincent Chin was beaten to death with a baseball bat 39 years ago, a galvanizing incident for the modern Asian American civil rights movement, but an event that has been lost to history for most outside of the community. But no longer. As the nation finally awakens to the violence that Asians continue to face in this country, Chin's story, his killers, never served a day in jail. That was in 1982. Now in the year 2020, 2021, we have seen over 149% spike in anti-Asian discrimination and assaults nationwide. This horrifying moment in time reinforces how important it is to dispel the harmful stereotypes that have been perpetuated throughout history. We don't forget Vincent Chin. We don't forget George Floyd. We don't forget Breonna Taylor. We got complacent, entitled, and arrogant, allowing ethnic studies and history to be less relevant. We must teach and remember and speak of the good, the bad, and the ugly. History is much more than just an event or a date, or an event here and there. History shows us why and how things happen. History is, in short, the study of change, and this makes it one of the most useful disciplines. The world is driven by change, which is continuously shaping our lives in ways that we don't even realize. Change affects from the highest forms of government and countries down to the most trivial details. Knowing history is the key to understanding how these forms shape our lives today, which is why we need to encourage our Board of Education and our elected officials to never forget to teach ethnic history and history in our schools. I guess the dogs don't like what I'm saying about history. Okay, Greg says they're cheering me on. So with that, I just want to mention that Vincent Chin, was celebrating his own bachelor party when he was killed in the summer of 1982 in Detroit. According to a witness, in the trial after his death, patient is a Chinese American. His two assailants pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the state and received 3 years probation and a $3,000 fine. Although Chin's family later won larger civil suits, the outcome of this criminal proceeding sparked a community appeal to try the case on the federal level, making the first time the Civil Rights Act was applied in court to an Asian American. So, the death of Vincent Chen occurred during a dark time in Americans' history with unsettling parallels to what we have seen happen over the past year with the stoking of hatred towards Asians and the scapegoating of Asians for COVID-19. And so therefore, we have to stand together. It's about being together. It's about uniting together. No matter what your skin color is, no matter what your ethnicity is, we have to understand the strategy behind all of this is to pit us against one another. And if we allow that, then we're constantly losing. And so I ask that we all unite, no matter what color we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much for helping organize this rally. We really appreciate it. I now have the pleasure to introduce Eric J. Chang. Eric is Deputy Attorney General at the California Department of Justice. He's former Special Assistant U.S. Attorney to the U.S. Department of Justice. Please help me welcome Eric Chang.
Thank you. Thank you. Palo Alto, great to be here. My name is Eric Chang. I'm a lawyer for the California Department of Justice. I'm a proud Gun High School graduate. And I'm a second generation Chinese American. Like many of you, my parents immigrated here to build a new and better home. They've given a lot to this country. Our community has given a lot to this country. Our community helped to build the railroads. We are essential workers, healthcare workers. We paint nails and we start businesses. Right here in Silicon Valley, our community has created hundreds of thousands of jobs for Americans all across the United States. We have made America our home. Nobody deserves to live in fear at home. Now, we're all tired of this pandemic, right? Yes. And many people are ready to go back to normal. Yes. But we are here because normal isn't good enough. Yes. The old normal is violence against our grandmas and grandpas. The old normal is deportations, economic injustice, and silence. It's time to walk away from that past and towards something new. My name is Eric Chang. I'm a proud son of Palo Alto, and if there's one thing that I know about Palo Alto and Silicon Valley, it's that we don't go back. We build new things. We innovate, we lead. Here, our ideas are more than just ideas. Our ideas become companies. Our companies change entire industries. Our industries change the world. Our ideas change the world. And so I can't think of a better place to start the 8x8 challenge. Right here in the heart of Silicon Valley, Palo Alto, Silicon Valley. Let's take this challenge. Let's change the world. Thank you so much, Eric.
Let's change the world. Let's change the world. Next, I have the honor to introduce Gilbert Wong, who is the former mayor and the councilman for Cupertino, who is also the key leader of this rally. And he's a business owner as well as a member of the board of trustees for Foothill, the Anza district. Albert Wong.
Thank you, Ming. Hello, Palo Alto. My name is Gilbert Wong, former mayor of Cupertino and trustee of the Foothill Anza Community College, and I'm so proud to be here with our Foothill College president, Wang, the first Vietnamese American president, and our student trustee, Macmillan of Anza College. I'm so proud to be standing here on the Martin Luther King Plaza here at Palo Alto City Hall. It makes me so meaningful to see my mentor, Mike Honda, California State Treasurer Fiona, who came down here from San Francisco, because I'm here because I'm mad. As an American-born Chinese who grew up in East San Jose, I was the only one who looks Asian. When I looked at the 50% Latino, 50% Caucasian classmates, a lot of people, who am I? Who are you? The closest Asian population to San Jose, California was Chinatown, Oakland, where every Friday we go and buy our groceries in Chinatown in Oakland. There was no 99 Ranch, there was no H Bar. We had to go to Oakland Chinatown, and that's where I learned more about my culture. I wanted to know more. When I went to West Valley Community College and San Jose State, there was no Asian American studies. Until I went to West Valley College and met overseas Chinese and learned about their culture, learned about how they were discriminated in Malaysia, in Thailand, in Vietnam, and I was also discriminated here in America. It really hurts me when I was an elementary kid, people look at the name Gilbert Wong. You know, Gilbert's an English name, but Wong, what do we do with Wong? He must be Wing Wong, his slanty eyes. You know, those kids were so mean, and I had no self-esteem. Never would I have known that I would be here as a mayor of a big town with a big apple in it, passing Steve Jobs' Apple Park. Never have I thought that I would be serving in one of the best community college districts with Foothill and Anza. These are the things. These are the things that say, no more first American, Vietnamese American as our president. No more first Japanese American in Congress, which we had a couple before Mike Honda. We want no more first, but to be normal. We can't have all of this stuff repeat after and after and after. We are tired. So let me see those signs again, those Asian hate signs. Raise them high that we're proud, and repeat 3 times with me for Stop Asian Hate. Stop Asian Hate! Stop Asian Hate! Stop Asian Hate! Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gilbert.
So I now have the pleasure of introducing my co-MC here, Ming Wei. She's CEO and founder of the World International Incorporated, board member of Neighbors Abroad here in Palo Alto, and former SVP of the Bay Area Council. Please give a warm welcome to Ming Wei.
Thank you, Brad. My name is Ming Wei, and I'm the board member here for Neighbors Abroad, which fosters collaboration between 8 countries and here. Thank you for all being here supporting AAPI communities on the beautiful Sunday afternoon under the glorious California sun. I applaud Councilor Tanaka's leadership in this effort in our rally, and he was one who led an effort to adopt a resolution in Palo Alto City Council to condemn and combat racism and violence against AAPI communities, which passed in Palo Alto City Council a few weeks ago. I'm also impressed by Greg's leadership in organizing this rally, creating this call for action concept, 8x8, Stop Asian Hate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. I mean, all Greg's courage and determination to run for the 2022 National Congress, to bridge the gap between Silicon Valley and Washington, D.C., and to increase the representation of Asians in the Congress. We have 14 seats in the House of Congress of 435 seats in total. We have Asian 2 seats in the Senate. We hope Greg will become the 15th seat to represent us all, the Asian migrants in the House of Representatives. We are 23 million strong in the USA. We need more political representation for Asian Americans here. Go Greg! Neighbors Abroad is Palo Alto's official sister city organization supporting our city council's resolution denouncing hate and xenophobia. And I've been on board for the last few years, established a city between Yangpu district of Shanghai and Palo Alto, a city I lived for over 15 years. So in my first-hand experience, I know all these cultural events we are celebrating right now for Asian American heritage will foster understanding between different cultures and various languages. I'm just concluding my speech with a little last paragraph of my poem. That's the poem. Is dedicated to the shooting at Atlanta on March 16th. We're not your punching bags for your white fists. We're not practicing targets for your black gunshots. We're not your Oriental women fetish, even if our upbringing tells us to be demure and submissive, contributing to the American economy and trying to survive. We're no longer swallowing the unprovoked assaults into our ancient chests, forever enduring violent punches in order to live up our modern minorities' image and myth. Enough is enough!
Thank you so much for him saying this. Thank you for your inspirational speech.
Beautiful poem, thank you.
Thank you for the beautiful poem. I now have the pleasure to introduce one of our teen speakers, Jeannette Wong. I met her at the Mountie rally about a week or so ago. She goes to Los Altos Highs and she's a very inspirational speaker. So please give me a warm welcome to Jeannette.
Thank you. I'll try not to fall off this bench.
Don't fall. She didn't fall, so you can't fall.
Right, I gotta use my agility. Alright. I'm not used to talking about my race. Maybe some of you felt this too, but when these attacks first started, I was hesitant to speak to my friends about it because I didn't know if I was overreacting or if my concerns were valid. And I feel incredibly lucky to be represented by all the AAPI leaders, many of whom are in public service and many of whom join us here today, and who validate our struggles. But this is not the case for everyone. Nationwide, Asian Americans are severely underrepresented at all levels of government. And without representation, who will advocate for our needs, our rights, and validate our struggles? We need to defend our cards on the table. To unite, to participate, to vote, to run. I know it is possible because today we are here. Despite the great diversity within the AAPI community, and we are here representing each other, recognizing each other, validating each other. You are proof that these issues are valid and that together we are powerful. So to my fellow Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders, and our allies, vote. Run for that election. Take what we feel here today and become the leaders for tomorrow. Thank you.
So next, the last but the most important one, who's a family friend for over 10 years, who calls me Auntie Ming, who's also the niece of Fiona Ma. Johanna for Palo Alto High School.
Hi, I'm the last speaker, so I'd like everyone to listen up. I'm the last speaker, so I'd like everyone to listen up. First, I want to thank you all for showing up today. It's important to come together as a community to support one another, rally for change, and show our solidarity with the AAPI community. Now, violence towards Asian Americans is not something new. From massacres to immigration exclusion to imperialism and intervention in East and Southeast Asia, the U.S. has an extensive history of oppressing and attacking us. And the hate has remained today, with hate crimes rising at a staggering rate. This is painful, heartbreaking, and sickening. So in this dire time, we cannot afford to be apathetic. face it. If we are indifferent, we are silent. If we are callous, we are uncaring. Our apathy will be deadly. So we need action. What does this look like? Well, first, it doesn't look like attacking other marginalized groups or pushing them down. It doesn't look like more violence. It doesn't look like more police in our community. Action looks like standing together against racism. It looks like standing in solidarity with Black communities, Indigenous communities, and other communities of color. It looks like addressing our systems, not just people, and calling for legislative action. It looks like educating ourselves, funding communities, and giving our time and energy into effective action. Yes. Yeah. So if there's anything I want you to take away from today, it is this. Fighting racism and fighting hate goes beyond one protest. It is an active decision daily to stand up for our community, to hold our system, to educate and learn and to be anti-racist. It is a continuous, strenuous, and genuine action that extends from our own city all the way to the rest of the nation. So will you act? Yes! No more silence. We must rise, we must act. And if we do, you will hear us!
Silence is violence! Silence is violence! Silence is violence! I'll let Marc conclude the argument.
All right, great.
Thank you, Johanna. Thank you guys for staying for this long. We're almost over. So I have one last thing, that's the call to action. What is the call to action? So I'd like you guys to all take out your phone. I'm going to take out your phone right now. I know you guys all have smartphones. Take out your smartphone. Open up whatever social media app it is. Is it Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever you use, Twitter? Open it up. Okay. To make this happen, we're actually starting this 8x8 voter registration drive. So Ming will hold the sign, Stop Asian Hate. So do it in your phone, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is. Do hashtag Stop Asian Hate, hashtag 8x8. And what we want everyone here to do is take the pledge. Take the pledge to actually get 8 people to take action in 8 days. Register to vote, commit to vote, or get someone else to take the challenge. So stop Asian hate and then flip the sign big for everyone. 8x8. Please do that, and then if you do that, we actually have a bunch of booths there, which we got sponsors from Asian Box, we got sponsors from Herb Burgers, sponsors from a bunch of other places that will give you giveaways. So please, just show your phone, stop Asian hate, 8x8 on social media. What we're trying to do here is it's kind of like an ice bucket challenge. So we have a bunch of sponsors from VMware to Yum Collective, free meals from Midwife and the Baker, Joel's Friends, Asian Hobbies. And I also want to just thank all the volunteers. We had a lot of people who made this happen. We had something like 60, 70 volunteers who put this all together. So please give them a big hand. I want to recognize my co-organizer, Lydia Koo, I don't know where she is, Bing Wei, Tyler Radcliffe, Rita Abel Alec, Deborah Liu, Monica Youngrima, Gilbert Wong, Trudy Ganesh, Jonah Saya, and Jeannette Wang. So thank you guys for helping to organize this event. And before you guys go, we have a bunch of booths here for Asian American Heritage Month. We have a voter registration booth here. We have an exhibit of the Chinese railroad workers. We have an exhibit of the Arboretum Chinese Labor Workers Project from Stanford University. Apapa has a booth here. We have Standing with Asians here as well, and also the Palo Alto Parents Club. So thank you guys for staying this long. Really appreciate your attention and you. support for this effort. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marc. Whoever wants to speak, it's open mic right here. And also, helping to keep all the booths open right now.